Can't pay an overdrawn direct loan account. Does that mean that you will go bankrupt? Personally, the answer is not necessarily, and certainly does not need to happen. And in general terms, it's a relatively rare event, even if the company goes into liquidation, that the director will wind up in a state of personal bankruptcy. What it does mean, of course, is that the director is personally liable to the company for the overdrawn director's loan account. It becomes a particular issue in liquidation because the liquidator has to treat it as an asset of the company. It is an asset of the company. There's no other way to describe it other than as an asset of the company, because that's exactly what it is. It's simply a debt that's due by the director to the company, just like any other asset. It's just not a tangible asset that you can touch. It is effectively no different, apart from the tax consequences of it, in relation to a debt that is owed by a customer to the company. As far as the director personally is concerned, of course, if they cannot pay it, then there's a problem. If the company is not in liquidation, then the effect of that will mean that it sits on the balance sheet as a debtor balance owing to the company, and tax is levied against the company under Section 455 of the Corporation Tax Act at the rate of something like 33-34%, whatever it is, gets adjusted from time to time. Difference in the context of liquidation is that at that point the liquidator, who has to wind up the company, and winding up the company means that it just simply cannot just drift on and on and on as if and never get sorted out. So the liquidator will typically invite the director to make proposals to repay it to the company. The effect of that means that the director will then have to discuss the matter with the liquidator in terms of the fact that they can't repay, negotiate, potentially provide financial information in terms of assets, liabilities, income, expenditure, to come to an agreement, preferably consensually, given the fact that litigation is, generally speaking, in this kind of circumstances, undesirable and will not necessarily or likely necessarily produce a better result for creditors. So a consensual agreement, otherwise known as a consensual disposal of the matter, will potentially be the most preferable in most cases. There are going to be circumstances where a director is determined not to repay or anything or whatever, and the circumstances can be sufficiently perverse. An example of that might be, for example, in an extreme case, if a director has got £1 million property with completely no mortgage and 100% equity solely in their name, and they've got a £50,000 overdrawn director's loan account, it would plainly be perverse for the director's loan account not to be repaid in those circumstances. It would take very exceptional circumstances. If the director simply offered nothing and expected the matter simply to be dropped, then in those circumstances they could very, very, very rapidly find themselves heading towards the bankruptcy regime. But in most circumstances that will not happen, and would be the matter would be sorted out by consent. Questions, queries, concerns, give us a shout. We know Insolvency inside out.